Hello and welcome back to Exothermic Plays Games. I'm Exothermic and the date today is Monday, July 25th, 2024. I've been doing a countdown of my favorite video games of all time through each day of the year, and coming in at number 170 is Fire Emblem: The Blazing Blade. If the subtitle to this game isn't familiar to you, that's probably because when it was first released in North America and Europe, it was just called Fire Emblem because it was the first one to be released in those markets, despite being the 7th game in the series. So I'm just going to refer to it as Fire Emblem for the rest of the video, and know that I'm referring to this game and not the whole series. Fire Emblem is a turn-based strategy game of sword, sorcery, and political intrigue. It's a prequel to Fire Emblem: The Binding Blade, which Smash Bros. Fans may recognize as the main story for Marth and Roy. In this game, you play as Mark, who is a tactician found by Lyn. Her entire tribe had been killed, and she was the sole survivor. However, in a twist of events, she learns that she is actually the direct heir to the throne of a nearby kingdom, and 2 knights come to escort her back to home. There's a plot to overthrow the current king, her grandfather, as her grand-uncle is plotting to murder the king and claim the throne. Naturally, he wants to kill Lyn before the public learns of her existence. That's where the combat comes in. Everyone but Mark participates in combat because the idea is you're the one telling them what to do. Characters can move and or take an action such as attacking, using items, or giving nearby characters items. Melee attacks have to be done orthogonally adjacent to the opponent, and the success of the attack depends on both your weapon and the target. Swords beat axes, beat spears, beat swords. Whenever anyone attacks, it shows a little combat sequence with the attacks. Sometimes the attacker with the advantage can even get multiple hits in. It's a small thing, but the animations for those attacks are really well done, especially for the Game Boy Advance, and are quite enjoyable to watch. There's a lot more to combat than just melee attacks, however. Over time, you'll accrue quite the party, with upwards of a dozen controllable characters all participating in combat all at once in some points of the game. Throughout the whole game, there are 44 playable characters, each with their own merits. Many are melee fighters with different weapon specialties, but there's also ranged attackers like archers, Pegasus Knights that can fly around, and spellcasters. Ranged attackers can shoot diagonally adjacent or 2 squares away orthogonally. When making a ranged attack, your opponent will only fight back if they're also a ranged attacker, so you can take great advantage of that. Some spellcasters are good at fighting, and others can't fight at all, but provide healing and other supporting magic. The nice thing about the enormous cast is that you can really have characters specialize in their roles. There's more to the gameplay than just fighting, by the way. Moving characters on top of homes allows you to visit them, usually offering hints or important information regarding the current fight, but sometimes it's necessary to progress, like when you recruit Matthew, the thief that was waiting to rob the aftermath of the fight you were currently in. He could unlock chests, doors, you name it, which gives you more interactions you can have in the middle of combat. Speaking of interactions, sometimes there are characters you need to talk to in the middle of the fight. Story in this game isn't told exclusively through dialogue between fighting, but is often told through the fight itself, creating an elegant blend of plot and combat that feels organic. I should mention there is a multiplayer mode to this game, but I've never played it, so I can't really comment on whether or not it's good. In theory, each player would pick a handful of characters from their own single-player games to build a team, and then you fight. I'm sure it's probably fun, although I have no idea if it's remotely balanced. Playing exclusively single player and just playing through the story is definitely fun though, and has some diverse levels for the strategy, but if you want to really push yourself, each of the campaigns in the story has a hard mode available to provide a significant challenge, even for seasoned veterans of the genre. You have to beat the game to unlock the hard mode though, so I can't show it to you now, since my original Game Boy Advance cartridge is long gone, and I'm not playing through the whole story for this video. It's absolutely worth playing through it though, if you're not on a time crunch like I am. Join me tomorrow as I talk about my 169th favorite game, where I stay a while and listen.